Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is John with Tommy's Top Picks, here to bring you your weekly Flesh and Blood market update. Yeah, she's got some life in her. She's got some life in her. Some things have moved. Rudy's rant lit the entire market on fire, and I guess people decided to buy in. I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll see. Let's look at the data. Let's dig in, and I got a couple of different things I wanted to chat about. But this is definitely some curious market activity. Let's jump in with the boxes first. Unlimited Mon up 18.97% to 58 from 47. It's notable that it's been at a super low for a while, and this would be a month later, and it just jumped above its previous low, which is still below map, so still sad. Still a sad place, a sad state of being, not the best. Mon Unlimited, obviously cold foils are not in there, so, it's not the best box, and there was a lot of it. That was the big thing. There was a lot of it. But yeah, seeing it recover is nice. Same with Tales of Arya, 6.25%, up to 48 from 45. This is just reversion to the mean. We're back to where we were, 2 weeks ago. Nothing too special there. But, upward movement after a Rudy rant like that is a little surprising. And then let's move on down to ARC as an honorable mention. It has dropped down 4.41% in its honorable mention because it's 4% instead of 5. I only heat map it if it's 5% or higher, which again I may want to adjust at some point in the future. We'll have to see. I'm not sure if I'm ready to do it yet, but it's something I need to consider sometime soon, because 5% mark is, I think, a bit too wide. We see a lot more 3 to 4% moves these days than we do 5, which is probably going to be the case, for this year. So it might be something to do for the sometime in this year and on. We'll see. We'll see where I get on that. Leave a comment if you have an opinion. 363 from 379, so it's down 4.41%. This is the ARC Unlimited cases, so if you're looking to get the cases, they sell at $100 a box. You can get a little bit of an arbitrage opportunity there. I'm not sure if I'd risk it, I'll tell you that, but it's definitely a possibility. Going down to Mon. This is first edition boxes up 6. What happened with Mon? Is there something I missed? Is there some meta news? What happened with Mon? Is this all reaction to the Angelaris? Did someone solve it? Did the word get out that someone solved Angelaris and it's like badass and everyone needs the Mon cards? What is going on here? Both Mons are up. Anyways, 6.1% first edition boxes to 82 from 77. Again, we were there about a month ago, but I'm liking it. I like it. I like to see it go back up. Sorry, a little sip of coffee necessary there. I'm a bit scratchy in the throat. I'm hoping I'm not catching something else. Everfest up 28.13% to 64 from 46. Thank you, Everfest. A lot of people have been hyping Everfest recently. I actually listened to a lot of content creators, reactions to Rudy and blah, 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 and, different card shops, what was going on. And Everfest is still a well-loved product. I thought it was interesting. I thought I'd bring this up. So if you look at Everfest, because there is no unlimited, and I didn't notice this before, but you note how it doesn't say TBA anymore? Did they just burn the Everfest unlimited? I think they might have, because this is not there. The TBA is not there. To be announced for the unlimited is just gone. 229 displays, so, just shy of 250,000 boxes, of Everfest out there. I mean, this may end up actually being a market turning data point. We'll see. But if Everfest recovers because of supply constraints, because it kind of feels like it's inching that way, and we'll look at the charts, but it kind of feels like we're inching that way. It says that 230,000 boxes is a bit long in the tooth, right? It takes a while for it to start the upward trend from supply reduction. But it says it's about right. Maybe, cut it a little bit, maybe, inch it up a little bit, depending on the type of product, what's in it, demand. Obviously, Everfest is a high demand product because it has Majestics that are still in high demand to this day. The singles M's in there are just, they sell. And it's almost all of them. It's not all of them, but it's very close. So good cards, increase of power level. I think this was the last real spike in power level. And basically at 250,000, we'll just call it round it up, right? Boxes, it takes a couple of years for that to cycle through, which is about the right pattern. Remember, if you listen to old Rudy, 7%, 3 to 5 year return on average per year, right? So you take that time frame. If we're saying 3 years, we're about right on Everfest, right? We're a little early, but not too bad, and that means this would be the beginning of that upward trend into kind of the step ladder that we talk about, where basically the demand and supply start janking at each other until it kind of gets to a new equilibrium. So that's what it is looking like. I don't want to hype it too much because we are, as I've said many times, entering a macro environment that's risk off, and we're not. I suspect it's not definitive, but that's what I've suspected and stated in the past. I don't know that this is the best product to put money into, obviously, but as far as it goes from playability, it's got the power. It's still in demand. It still moves, and the boxes were dirt cheap a couple weeks ago. Now they're up to 64. Still, I think that's still below map, right? 85 is map, or 80, something like that. I'm not sure how far back in the map it is, because there's tiers of map. It might be the 30% at this point. But point being that it's moving up. It moved up rapidly, and let's keep an eye on it. I don't want to get too hyped about it until we see a consistent hold here. Again, macro environment alone would probably depress this, just because holding sealed boxes doesn't make sense. Selling singles, on the other hand, might make sense if you have the patience to list them all. Unfortunately, the apps and stuff make it pretty difficult. Yeah. So, anyways, that was just a surprise. 28% jump. After a Rudy rant like that, I suspected. Let me just put it my way. My expectation sitting down to do this was that we were going to see down across the board. Not everything, obviously, but something like this, but blue. Instead, we see red. Pretty cool. I'm a fan. All right, moving on to Dusk Till Dawn, down 7.25%, 69 from 74. We were here, 2 months ago. The fact that it even jumped back up was shocking. If you recall, I was like, wow, that's weird. It shouldn't be going back up that fast, honestly. Usually we see the decline for a while until boredom kicks in, etc. Again, I think this is just hype around Angel Aris. That one makes a lot more sense because those cards seem to work with it, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a meta expert. So let me know in the comments if Mon has cards that are critical to the new Angel Aris kind of builds. Seems like market seems to be indicating that, yeah, the new Prism weapon is where it's at. This new heavy hitters box and Prism weapon is gonna do something. I don't think the box will necessarily do it as a sealed product or investment type thing, but the actual Angel Aris itself might move boxes of Dusk Till Dawn and Mon. Which would be interesting, because if they clear that out, let's see, we don't have, this is the unfortunate part. I wish they really did stick with their policy. I wanted to check this again. Yeah, see how this has, the Everfest doesn't have this line. I'm pretty sure it used to. So I think they burnt the entire unlimited supply. I love that. If they did that, I freaking love it. I call it a success, the right move. First edition Mon is at 125. So think about that when you're seeing these boxes move, right? This price increase. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on unlimited. For the price increase for this, right? When you see this move and you see this not move, this is the cases, right? These are first edition. And we're looking at this and saying there's only 125 displays. And then we look at Everfest and see it starting to move. Again, let's get some weeks of data here, right? Because we've seen these spikes and then revision to the mean. So let's just hang tight, but let's watch the data. But if 229 is about the right amount for call it a 3 to 4 year horizon for the product, right? Because you want to have people able to get the cards, a good product, right? Something that's demanding the cards in it means it can continue to sell at a pretty regular pace, not super pace, but regular pace for 3 to 4 years. If that happens and this supply of 229 kind of gets worn out, then think about Mon with the cold foils at 125, right? It's a lot, especially with this, because this dampens the desire for this, which is why I think the Everfest burning of Unlimited is the move. And I think that's why they did 2.0, right? So you get rid of Unlimited, or you see unlimited as depressing the value, but you also recognize that people would rather get cold foils, and you start to see some transition in attitude on Monarch, which would be absolutely insane because it's not been that long since Monarch was hated so much. I don't see it happening yet. Definitely optimistic colored glasses on here. I did want to talk about kind of, I think, let me put it this way. Listening to different YouTubers out there, which is probably a bad idea. It's not good for your health. Doctors don't recommend it. 9 out of 10 doctors say don't listen to YouTubers. But seriously, I want to kind of talk about the reaction to the Rudy thing out there, people's concerns. It sounds like I actually came in prepared to talk about when the market's down, but the market's not down, so okay. But something I wanted to bring up, because I'm sure some people are having questions, worried, etc. Totally reasonable. If you're at a point where you are stressing over your exposure to any asset, and for those of you who are newer, you may not know, but the first money I made was in crypto. I bought Bitcoin way back at like $10 a coin. And that was before I did VC work. That was before I did any of this stuff in finance. It was when I was doing tech work. But basically, I have seen volatile markets is basically what I'm trying to say. I have lived them. I have eat and slept next to them. Literally, at one point, I was trading markets in a way with leverage that was so risky that I was sleeping on my office floor and had alarms that would ring for certain price events, right? Okay. So that tells you the level of insane I went to with volatile markets. And just to give you some perspective, if you are feeling stressed, if you are losing sleep, and you don't want to lose sleep, I slept on my office floor intentionally because I wanted to do specific types of trades and things anyways. But if you don't want to lose sleep like I did, and you are seeing yourself fret over the market, it means you're overexposed. And this is something that was always talked about in crypto. It's like never buy more than you're willing to lose. And the reason why is because you can lose it all. And that is true in cardboard, right? How many games have failed? We've seen them just over the past few years. They fail. It happens. Even older games fail. You may not remember, but in the 90s, there was games that made it to 3, 4, 5 years and then failed. So it is very possible. Like I said, until the 7-year mark, you're pretty much at 7 years on average with startup businesses. You're somewhat home free. You have some legacy. You have some stickiness. But before that, you can fail pretty easily. Chances are fairly high. It's like 90% in the first 3 years, and then it's like, I think it's like 70 or 60 or something like that in the next few. Point being, if you feel overexposed, if you feel too stressed about the amount of money you have in trading cards, and I don't care about Flesh and Blood, Magic, whatever, any of them, then reduce your exposure. Get yourself to a comfortable place where you look at the number and it's declining and you're like, whatever. Okay. That is how you do volatile assets. That is how you do that type of investing. Now, on the other side of that coin, if you're feeling afraid, others are feeling afraid. And usually, and this is how I made money with crypto, usually when you're feeling terrified, that's the time to actually Jedi mind trick yourself and say, I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy. I'm going to lose money. I'm going to buy. And I know Rudy talks about this all the time, but he's dead on. He's absolutely right. And it is the way to make money. So when you think about things like reserve lists declining, when you think about things like, Flesh and Blood declining, when you think about things like cold foils are cheap, right? When you think about promos or special cards that were, reward cards for, big events like Pro Tours, etc. If you're looking out there and you see the prices declining and it makes your stomach go down, right? Like you're like, oh God, I've spent too much on these, right? First, assess your health and situation. Do not sacrifice your health for money. It will never win. Okay, so make sure you're in a place where you can handle it. 2, if you can handle it, those are your times to buy. Those are your opportunities. Now, the timing is very difficult because, like I said, I think we have a longer term negative macro environment coming up. So if we have a 6-month period of cooling off across all markets, then you really want to wait as long as you can before you start buying. But as I've mentioned in the past, the time to do it is you start feeling that nervousness, you buy a little bit at a time, just a tiny bit in the beginning. Maybe your budget is, say you have, I don't know, $2,000 you want to put into assets, anything. You start to buy a little bit, and we're talking like $20, maybe $100, and you do that every week, every month, pick your time frame. And then as the market continues to decline, you make it double that. So now it's $40, $200, whatever your, again, budget fits and it makes sense. And then as you go, as it goes deeper, you buy even more at the very, at the worst time, at the place where everyone's most panicked, or if you see a spike crash, which does happen, you go all in, when this spike crash happens, or mostly in, whatever, make sure, again, all your financial assets in your life are taken care of and that sort of thing. But those are the times to typically buy. Now, I will say, I feel that I have too much exposure to certain card games, not just Flesh and Blood, but several. And I've been working on the card shop pretty hard because I want to reduce that exposure. It's making money and it's a fun hobby. And I actually just like running the shop part of it and trying to sell, cards. But frankly, the whole reason it exists is to take money out of cards and put it into other things. Like I said before, I'm investing in other areas. I'm using my free capital to do that. The card shop is one way to transition, product from, personal product to actual cash that I can use, right? So just letting you know, this is how people that invest for a living invest and think about it. When things are really down, you look for the opportunities to buy the assets that will hold the best. In these situations, I would definitely call it the first 3 sets, first edition, absolutely. So these three, obviously the cases are really hard to come by. Do not pay these prices. Do not pay these prices. Do not pay these prices. I saw ARC on offer an offer to buy around $7,000 for a case. I'm pretty sure it's lower than that now. I think you can probably get a case for something like $4,000 or $5,000 if you dig around enough. So do not pay these prices. These are not valid markers of prices. I don't think there's ever been a sale at that price. In fact, if we go back to ARC, look at this. This is the last real sale, $7,250. So there's never been a sale at these prices. So the real sale was way back here, and I would say the sentiment has come down, so it's probably 5-6K, probably, depending on the quality of the case, etc. Viable. If you have money you want to deploy, if you have a whale, and this is what you should look at your history. When things were good, what were you really pining for? What were you like, oh man, if only I could? Those are the things you should revisit in the times where your stomach drops, because that's when it's the best time to go and buy that thing. And you had high conviction in it before, so you would have high conviction in it again when the market turns around. And again, always do this with money you don't care about, money you can afford to lose. Never leverage, never get yourself into a situation where you're, forced to liquidate because you don't have cash you need for life, for real life stuff. You always want to use money that you can afford to lose in all of these volatile assets. It's just not smart to do it otherwise. And yes, there's 1 in a million people that did that, stupidly leveraged their house or whatever in crypto. There's so many stories about this, but it's bullshit. I'm telling you. There was millions and millions of people. I know. I can tell you this. There's more people that killed themselves over their losses, and I'm not joking about that, in crypto than made it to millions and millions by leveraging their house. And it's because most of those people that leveraged their house failed, and they had nothing left at the end. So don't do that stuff, guys. And I'm not kidding. They used to put up suicide hotlines on the different Reddits and forums, and it was sad to see. There's people I knew and talked to regularly in the early days that are gone because they lost it all. Okay, so don't put yourself in that situation. It's just money. Health is way more important. Life is way more important. Family, friends, there's other things besides cardboard and money. So don't get yourself in a situation like that. If you feel you're in that situation, reduce your exposure. Just target the things that will move so that you can get out of it as fast as possible and de-stress a little bit. and then focus on the rest of life. Just close your eyes, ignore it, put it in a closet, come back 3 years from now. Don't even look at it again. That's how you do it. That's your best way. I'll tell you, that's when my first bear market in crypto, that is how I actually dealt with it. It crashed so hard. I was like, this is over. I've wasted all this money. Forget about it. And I opened it up like a couple years later. I kept an eye on it, but I didn't actually pay attention to it like I was, where I was obsessing over it. And, basically 2-3 years later, it started to go up again. I see a headline, new all-time high or something. And I go back and I'm like, oh, my crypto's worth something. So yeah, anyways, having ridden a lot of crashes, that part of me is dead inside. so I think I'm a different tolerance level for this kind of downward situation. Then again, it looks like this week we're up. So like I said, I assumed we would be in a really bad place today. It's a much better story than I thought, but I do predict over the next 6 months, and definitely no guarantees, that we will see a continued downward decline in boxes and these sorts of things for a while anyways. So anyways, thought that was interesting. Wanted to talk about that. All right, let's move on. I do have some cards. Oh, first off, Dust Till Dawn still didn't have a picture. I don't know who's responsible. If this is LSS, get a picture up here. If it's not LSS, if it's TCG Player, come on, TCG Player, what are you doing? If Dust Till Dawn still didn't have a picture for cases. Anyways, I was going through prices, and I just thought I'd point that out. Maybe someone can do something. All right, so collectible stuff. It looks like Warrior and Brute are going to be a big part. Obviously, Guardian 2, although I didn't actually pull any Guardian thing. Oh, no, I guess I did. So I wanted to look at these Marvels. I thought it was interesting. We're starting to see some crazy activity. All of December, we started to see this move up. Even a sale at 73, right? From 42, and now we're at 70 for these listings. So there's still life in her yet. Oh, and by the way, there's only 3 listings of this Merciless Battle Axe. So, yeah, this is, people have something in mind with this, and they want it, and they're buying it. Seasoned Savior, I think this would be the Guardian equivalent, if you will. I just wanted to see how this is going. We see some movement, but not nearly as much. I'm guessing just the effect isn't really worth it. We'll see how the new heroes play out and what ends up happening, but definitely always keep track of these old school Marvels. And then Rock, I know everyone got really excited about Rock. You can see this one sold like crazy, right? This is all December sales. And it's like 40, 40, 40, 40, 50, 50, 50. Now we're in the 60s. Sheesh, there's only 6 left. Wow. Okay. 6 left on market. So again, if you want to reduce exposure and you have things like this, these are things that would move. And then I also want to check in on dragons, because I always want to check in on the dragons. Dragons and angels, those are my fun things. But I never did buy the angels. I haven't looked at them this week, so I don't know if I should regret it. I thought this was interesting, though. One sold at 190. Was that like yesterday, the day before? That's crazy. Why? Especially when there's like, maybe that just triggered people listing. I guess it triggered people listing. Or maybe it was like no, see, there's guaranteed sellers at 150. I don't know why one sold at 190. Someone manipulating the market. What's going on here? Anyone know? Let me know in the comments if you have an idea. Either way, 170s, 140. It was on a decline for sure over the past, since October, I guess. And now we're at 190 for one sale. Let's see. I wonder if that will hold next week. I'll try to remember to check it out again. I bet this goes away. I bet this gets returned or faked out or whatever. So anyways, just checking that out. But these are the sorts of things you can release and let go of to reduce your stress and reduce your exposure. Something to think about, though. If you go to sell it and you're feeling heavy regret and fear of selling it, you have to weigh the two. You have to think about what that means to you. Is it going to be a bigger regret to not have it in the future when it goes up? Or is it going to be a bigger regret to have exposure when it goes down? And that's how I weigh it. Where's my regret going to be? I try to live without regret as much as possible, do as much as I can proactively, chase the things that I want to chase, do the things that I want to do, because I don't want to live with regret. I want to live life, right? And so that's one of the ways I measure whether I'm in the right position or not, and if I'm stressed about something, and emotions are taking hold, and how to be logical about it. 10 years from now, will you remember that trade? Probably not. 10 years from now, will you remember that card? Maybe. Is it very important to you? Does it have a sentimental value? Those are the sorts of ways in which you can measure really where you should be with this stuff. So, anyways, just some advice from someone who's been through a few battle scars in volatile markets. For those of you new to it, because I'm sure there's plenty. All right, let's go through some charts. Unlimited, Monarch, and Tails seem interesting. All right, what do we got here? Yeah, so it's a $4 ARB opportunity on Mon Unlimited. Nothing too crazy there, but it is a little bit of a one. Oh, yeah, I did want to check ARC to see if that was... No. Wait, what? Didn't that say? 99 a box. 363. Did something mess up on my chart? No, I'm just an idiot. I'm an idiot. I said it backwards. That's what happened. Nope. Yep. Definitely no ARB opportunity there. Duh. I said it backwards. I'm an idiot. Anyways, moving on to Tails. Sometimes my mental math isn't fully there, as you heard me sipping coffee earlier, trying to wake up. Let's see. 48. Definitely interesting opportunity here. Oh, no. I am an idiot. Yes. There's ARB opportunity on ARC. Yeah. Of $8. Good God. I am not awake. All right. Let's go. Mon, ARB opportunity as well, $4. Yes, okay. Yes, there we go. Tails, no ARB opportunity. We're at, we're still on a downward trend. I mean, it's nice that it went up, but it's still on a downward trend. I'm not seeing anything special here. It's okay. It's okay. All right, let's move on. Don't really care. Check that out. ARC was good. Mon, first edition. And yeah, just parity. Nothing special here. We dipped down. We're back to parity. Yeah, it's fine. Nothing. It's nice that it moved up, but it's really not a market thing. Let's check out Everfest first, because that's probably the weirdest chart. I think Everfest is taking place for Tales of Aria. Yeah, it definitely is. What is it today? Do we call it? Is this a dinosaur? Is that its long neck and it's looking down at the ground? And here I am right here, and it's like, you are a tiny human. I am a dinosaur. It is. It's definitely that. That's what the chart is telling us. All right, let's look. Yeah, we got a little bit of an ARB opportunity on Everfest. Let's see if I can get it to show up. 64. Yeah, so, $11 a box. That's pretty interesting for something that usually is pretty cheap and moves pretty quickly. At the very least, you can get cards for it. Point being, if you are trying to get the cards, it looks like case is your way to go. You got the discount. Yeah, interesting move on the box. I think we wait, because we had this happen. What was it, Outsiders or DTD? Something did this spike too, and we saw it quickly revert to the mean. So I think we just wait. I think this will adjust. I think it was just a market noise thing, and we will see where it is in a week or two. But it is interesting to see Everfest, come back with a vengeance. Anyways, I hope you guys are out there cracking packs, playing games, and enjoying this hobby that we love. Sorry for the ramble. Sorry for the mistake in reading the charts. It is time for more coffee. Until next time, have a good one.